Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. This supplement is titled A Historical Anecdote on Blindness Cured by Eating Liver. It's being prepared to augment the next installment in the Food and Health playlist, inshallah. This would be on the incomparable health promoting properties of consuming animal liver. In this supplement, I'll be quoting an extract from the historical novel Trial and Triumph, a novel of Maimonides, authored by Morrison and Hubler and published in 1966. As a side note, I am fighting the urge to launch into a testimonial of this very scholarly piece of fiction. However, I reckon it's best to reserve that as a separate presentation, inshallah, for an upcoming great books playlist. Now for the extract. It's from pages 92 to 93 of the aforementioned novel. However, let me first give a qualification. My understanding is that the anecdote herein is a fictionalized version of history. It falls somewhere between real history and fiction altogether. With that said, the time period is the end of the 12th century. The anecdote is ensconced in a letter addressed to the father of the great Jewish philosopher Moses ben Maimonides. I will be reading only the relevant bits and pieces. Here it is. Open quote. The reason for my present visit stems from the disastrous Battle of Damascus, reports of which rang through the world. There the Caliph took hundreds of Frankish knights prisoner, stripped them, and plunged them all instantly into the darkest dungeons. They remained there for years in unspeakable dirt and disease, fed only bread and water. Most of them died, about 300 survived, a tribute to their ruggedness. Well, the good King Louis having returned, the families, liege lords, and priests managed to get about 5 million dinars together to ransom them. The Muslims packed them home like cattle. They sent back no bargain. All were totally blind. Louis quartered them here in the Hotel de Dieu. On my arrival, I examined these helpless, hopeless men. Blindness had reduced the great warriors to whimpering children or grim, lost souls. I discovered none had suffered destruction. I had feared that scarring of the eyes, the trachoma as the Greeks call it. As you know, this is an ancient disease of Palestine. Nothing can be done about it, so infectious is this inflammation which sears the eye. My inquiries brought out that their blindness had developed first at night, then during the day, finally becoming a settled condition. For lack of any other idea, I guessed it must have been the bread and water diet. I ransacked the libraries, sending to Toledo since there were only 20 books in the Library of Paris, and reread the writings of Asaph Judius. Here I must make my first confession. It was Maimonides who did the research which confirmed my guess. He provided copies of Philo, who had investigated ancient Egyptian scrolls describing the same state. It was Maimonides who pointed out that Hippocrates had seen it over 1,000 years ago, calling it xerophthalmia and recognizing it as an affliction caused by diet. It was Maimonides who told me the Egyptians had cured it as long as 3,000 years prior to that by feeding the patient on lamb's liver. I decided to try his suggestion on one or two of the nights. Of course, I disguised what I gave them, grinding up the meat secretly, changing color and odor with a few other harmless ingredients. The results were almost beyond belief. Within a few weeks, my first nights were actually able to see. I placed all of them on the same diet, blessing Maimonides. One by one, they recovered, virtually completely. End quote. And that's all for supplement number 6.